So now moving to item 9, Venues Ōtautahi Annual Report and Quarter 1 2021-22 Performance Report. So we've got a team of people from Venues Ōtautahi here, Caroline Harvey-Tier, Dale Andrews and Gil Cox, the chair.
It's Christmas.
And then Linda from our own team as well. So how do you want to run this? We'll take any commentary on the report first, and then there'll be an opportunity for questions, and then obviously any discussion. So Tim, just noting that you're sitting back from this one, and over to the team at the top of the table. Thank you.
Look, thanks very much for having us here, and we're here to really talk about the two things, the annual report and the first quarter report for the current year we're in. Both have been challenging periods. I'm going to ask Caroline, Chief Executive, to run that, supported by Dale. But just a couple of comments if I could start off. We're going to assume that you've read that, so it'll be a pretty brief presentation from us, and then we're open for questions. We will also, I think Caroline probably will give a glimpse into the future where we see things are going. That's still pretty uncertain, but we will give a glimpse into the future as to how we think that's going to unfold in the future. So I won't waste any more of people's time by introducing it. Caroline, over to you to talk about, I think you're going to talk about the annual report first.
Yeah, we'll kick off with the annual report. Good morning, everyone. Merry Christmas. Yeah, I thought it was a little bit more glittery today, given I'm normally quite sullen. So the annual report. So firstly, I might just touch on the report itself because you'll see it's changed a little bit from years prior. We really wanted to change the flavour and tell a bit more of a story. And you'll see in this annual report, we tell a story of local, a story of resilience, but a story of opportunity. And that's really exciting. Venues Ōtautahi has community good at its core, and we wanted this to be really reflected in the report. And you'll see more of that in the future. The venues are owned by the community and are here for the community. The social, cultural and economic benefit of events held across the venue portfolio we are all well versed in. And we're proud to reflect on a year actually, despite the disruption of COVID, that ticketed events alone contributed an estimated 14 million to the economy of the region, which is really positive. We were ahead in terms of major events from our SOI target, so we held 8 versus 6, and again under quite a constrained environment. And overall we delivered around 272 events, 62 of which cancelled as a result of COVID-19. So that number should have been a little bit higher. And it was fantastic to see the town hall back to its glory. We held the most events there, as we continue to always do, and the most variety of events as well. So it's fantastic to see that iconic city-owned venue back to its former glory. Just to touch on a couple of highlights. So COVID, look, I know it's the word that we talk about a lot and we're probably all sick of it, but it's still here. It changed our business, but it changed the world. It forced us to make fundamental changes to how we do business, and albeit that was extraordinarily challenging for the team at the time and has continued to be volatile, it's changed the business for good, and we are well positioned for the future. We're lean, we're agile, and we're able to respond, and you'll see that as how we've responded in this current environment. We changed our name, so that was more about not changing our name, but actually trying to reflect who we are in our name. So Venues Ōtautahi. We are venues and we are Ōtautahi. Now it does what it says on the tin. It really reflects our connection with our cultural heritage. It enables more of our local procurement strategy. And it really reflects our focus on marketing the venues, not the business, which is the most important thing. It's the venues that create those memories, not Venues Ōtautahi. We celebrate and source local. We've talked a lot about this, but we're really proud of it, and it's a real highlight of the year. As of November, we procure 84% of our food and beverage now locally. Before April 2020, that was 5%. There's 9% of that remaining 16% that comes from the South Island and the North Island, and now only 5% that come from overseas. What we've done is we've changed our menus so we can sourced locally, as well as finding really niche operators around the region that, we've just recently found a local lentil producer on Banks Peninsula versus getting them from France. So we didn't even know that there were lentils in the Banks Peninsula. So it's awesome. So those things have really changed the business. And what it's also done is actually reduce our operating costs internally. So not only it's a genuine win-win. We're forecasting 1.7, 1.9 and $2.1 million of direct contribution from local procurement in the coming 3 years. So that's also exciting. And what we'll continue to do is take it outside of just food and beverage. And we always do anyway, but as we can, try and procure all of our products and services locally. The Canterbury Multi-Use Arena. So obviously we are well embedded in the CMUA design, and we feel really privileged to be in that role, really privileged to be able to manage that facility on behalf of the community when it's open in 2025. And what we're really doing at the moment is ensuring that those design fundamentals are reflected. So operational functionality, guest experience, the genuine multi-use ability of that arena, but also the maximising the commercial opportunity for the city. And one real focus from now is actually building community engagement with that facility. We want to be the voice of the venue, create excitement, create aspiration for what is going to be a stunning venue, but one that is a genuine symbol of post-earthquake recovery. It's the last of the anchors. That means something. It's a place of togetherness. It has endurance and strength now in its name of the precinct, and we're excited to be able to lead some of that engagement and community connection with the venue. And lastly, just a note on team resilience and collaboration. Our team has gone through the ringer, as have many in Christchurch and across the country in this environment. But when we lost 60% of our team in June last year, that was really tough for those that remained. And I've got to say that the positivity, collaboration, grace and integrity of our team over the last 12 months has been outstanding and a real highlight of the year. The financials. So despite those challenges, we have had a operational performance that has exceeded expectations. We've had an over budget event revenue, 1.5 million over, and we've managed to reduce significantly our operating expenses. And that really is about changing the way that we work. We have a genuine cost model now, which positions us well for the future. And we've also had a positive net operating profit, which again, despite the challenges of the year, we're really, really proud of. So that's probably the highlights of the year and the annual report, and happy to take questions. Thank you.
All right, so questions on the annual report at this stage. So Jimmy and then Yanni.
Okay, thank you for the report. Very good. But regarding to the kind of the how do I say? Maybe in partnership, with or collaboration with our stakeholders. I'm not sure regarding to the current update status between the venue of Ōtautahi and the Royal Air Force Museum, because they didn't have the kind of display or exhibition center working together with the venue Ōtautahi. I didn't see any report in here. So what's the
Around the Air Force Museum?
Yeah.
So the Air Force Museum is one of our venues that we manage on behalf of the Air Force Museum. And those, all of our reporting includes that venue as one of our key venues. So we don't reference them separately. We actually include them in just like we would any of our other venues.
There was one major event also held at the Air Force Museum, which was the Van Gogh Alive. So that was one that was recognised that we partnered with Air Force Museum in the year.
But now the new commission is open and also temple open. Whether those relationships still maintain.
We still see it as a really viable. We've actually just agreed a new commitment with the Air Force Museum for the next 3 years. It's a really nice addition to the portfolio. It actually gives a variety of offerings, and that's a benefit of Venues Ōtautahi, having a diverse range of offerings. A lot of, particularly a business event, for example, might have a conference there, and it may even be that partnering with Te Pai, that someone has their convention at Te Pai but has their gala dinner at the Air Force Museum. That really offers something different.
Thank you.
Yanni.
Thank you. Just Three questions from me. First off, thank you for the work that you've done around that local procurement, and I just think it's really fantastic. What I'm interested, I guess, to just understand a little bit more about is how transferable that is to other council organisations. Like, are you doing any work looking at growing that strength of the council family, if you like, to get the benefits? Is that something that can be kind of shared and developed further in that regard?
Well, that'd be a wonderful opportunity. We talk a lot about it. We're really proud of it, and so where we can, we will certainly be talking about the benefits of that. I mean, inherently choosing local makes sense, but I don't think it's always understood that it actually can benefit your bottom line. So it's certainly something we'd be very happy to share, and if others can learn around the council family, that'd be fantastic.
And just in terms of understanding what that's meant for staff, have you transitioned from a contractor to directly employing staff?
We have always directly employed our staff, and we brought our outsourced catering in-house.
Right, so it was the catering that
Yes,
you've directly
so on the
employed.
1st of April 2020, we ended that long-term arrangement. I think it was 25-year contract with Spotless, and all staff came across to venues Ōtautahi then.
So maybe we might like to think as a council how we can encourage the other council companies to look at what's happened there. So the other two questions from me. One is the point that Jimmy makes around, I think previously, it would be quite good for us to understand how each venue is performing. And I don't know how easy it is to break down, but certainly there were concerns in the past around the viability of some of those venues, and it would be quite good just to know how each one's tracking if we could.
Yanni, I think that's a good point, but I think also we've got to bear in mind that we manage the portfolio of venues to try and give those that are attending the best experience. So it might mean that you direct or try and encourage an event to go to a particular venue as against another one, because it's actually better, they'll get a better experience.
Yeah.
So I think what you're suggesting is a good idea, but at the same time we've got to remember we've got a portfolio and we're trying to manage the total portfolio to give people the best experience.
In the past, when we've had reports from B-Base, what's been really clear is there's been one or two venues that have really required a huge operational subsidy. And you kind of wonder why the community should be covering the cost of some of those venues, but then you don't also see the community benefit directly. So that's why I thought having the information on each one's quite good. And that just leads to my final question, which is in your targets, it's really good to see that you've exceeded the ability for, I'm just trying to give you the page number, page 59, which is make venues available to support local, cultural, not-for-profit and charitable organisations. And your target was 30, at least 30, and you've done 45. You've also talked about the quantum, but is it possible to get a breakdown of like what groups have been able to access the venues and which venues are being accessed? And then the question was also related to that is, have you identified any issues with people being able to access the venues from the community? Like, is there any kind of things that you've seen that would make us think we might need to do more in that space? Even though you've exceeded your target, I'm just interested if you've had feedback from groups around, cost, access to catering, barriers to being able to use our venues. Thank you.
So the first question, yes, absolutely. I'm sure we can provide a breakdown of the types of groups that have had access to that community rate. Secondly, we're continuing to focus on building that accessibility to the venues. We haven't heard much, if any, negativity. I think where we can see an opportunity, though, is creating flexibility. So if you think about short lead times for the town hall, for instance, making those available in a shorter lead, maybe allowing a breakdown of the day so someone may not have to pay for the whole day of venue hire, if that's something that we can do. So we're constantly looking at other ways whilst maintaining the commercial viability of the business as well. Yeah.
All right, thank you. So Sam, you'll move, Jimmy will second, and I've got a further question from Anne.
Just a quick one. Thank you, Caroline, for an extensive and really positive report. Just wondering about the term cultural rate. What does that mean? I'm just wondering if you can explain that.
Yeah, it's actually not really what we use now, to be
No.
honest. It's community events.
Right,
So it's those
okay.
events that attract a reduced rate, and it's a
Okay.
community rate. So that report, it's probably not quite.
That's
yeah,
fine.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so this has been moved and seconded. So thank you very much indeed for the reports and for the commentary. Appreciating that you're continuing to work in what really is a unique, uncertain and extremely challenging environment. Realising that events and hospitality are two sectors that have been affected significantly by COVID and by the continuing uncertainty. And I'm noting the comments about the way that the staff, the team have really pulled together and have responded to that in some remarkable ways. So that comment certainly landed as well. And the other success is the one that's been referred to and that's referred to well in the report, is what you describe as the year of celebrating and sourcing local. That local procurement piece not only is great for your organisation, our organisation, but also for the city and the region, and actually is an exemplar, and it was alluded to through the questions, of the way that other organisations actually could be supporting the region in the same way. So thank you and well done.
Thank you.
Yanni.
I was just going to, obviously just echo what you've said, but I wondered if we could just record a resolution to acknowledge the significant impact that the local procurement and the use of local procurement and suppliers has had, and we thank VBASE or VO for that. I just thought it would be nice to positively recognise that in our minutes in terms of
So
receiving
if you want to
report.
dictate some wording, we'll get the staff to put it up.
Yeah, just that council acknowledge with appreciation the benefits of VO moving to use local procurement and suppliers, something like that. Local
Happy with that?
procurement and local suppliers or local producers.
Local procurement and local
It's just
suppliers.
such a good news story.
Producers
good
and
move.
suppliers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So Yanni, you're comfortable with that wording. So I'll move it and second. Sam, Jimmy, you're comfortable with that. So we'll just incorporate it. That's fine. Successful move. Yeah. Okay. That's good. Happy with that? Okay, great. Is there any further comment? I'll put the motion. All those in favour say aye. Aye. Against? That's carried. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
And greetings of the season.
Lovely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, reciprocate that.